To dispense with the pleasantries, so first of all, the things that I saw from your course that had me writing down a 71 and a 73 were you were doing a lot of higher level vocal expression stuff, which means you're paying attention to your phrasing, your excellent dynamic plan. You had a dynamic plan and you executed it well. So
Great,
bravo for that.
Good
That
stuff.
makes me excited because that's how we communicate and express with our voices. So if the audience is blind and they can't see what you're doing visually, all we can do is do a series of airflow increases and decreases, which changes our volume, and how we express with our consonants, right? So though I really like the dynamic plan, to get you to an even higher level, you need to pay attention to those expressive consonants to give the words a little bit more meaning without altering your instrument. Hey!
Hey, how are you?
I got the
Nice
first
work,
part of it
man.
on tape.
Good.
Nice direction. Yeah. So we're just complimenting your dynamic plan and flow through the phrases and all that got me up into the low 70s for score. Okay, because we have such limited time, I'm going to get right to the other constructive stuff.
Yep.
All right. Intonation was one of the major issues. It kept me from getting higher and also kept the other judge from getting to where I was. And the main reasons for intonation errors are tension on the larynx, tension on the vocal folds, due to either coming forward a little bit. If you feel the muscles above and below your larynx, go ahead. Go ahead and touch. Not much time, but if you come forward, it starts to tighten up. It's going to interfere with
What do you mean by intonation? Just define that term.
tuning.
Thank you.
Right? Yep, sorry. So any tension that goes on the larynx due to the position of your head coming forward, instead of being back and nice and free, it's going to limit the ability for the larynx to get to the position it needs to be instantly accurate with your tuning. All right? So that's one thing. The other major issue with intonation is changing the shape of the vocal tract with the tongue. So when we sing a tall vowel, unfortunately, the tongue drops back, causes too much space in the front of the mouth, and that causes us to sing a slightly lower tone. Heart of my heart, oh. Here, go flat and then tune up again. So the thing is, if we're all doing tall vowels, if we're all doing heart of my heart, we will have a degree of ring, and it will sound in tune. But if some of us are singing like North Americans, heart of my heart, versus heart of my heart, and half of us are doing the other thing, it's gonna sound like we have a tuning issue. I would choose to sing like North Americans since we're singing a North American pop art form. Right? These are pop songs, so we really try it both ways. I think that you'll find that you'll get more clarity and ring and in-tune singing from each singer if you just sing it the way you speak it. Right? Do we have enough singers to sing yet, or they're just...
This is probably going to be it. Yeah. We have most everybody in.
All right.
Sorry. We should be here for you.
That's right. So
The important people are here for you.
the important people. Well, remember you're recording this, right?
Yes.
So when you have all the singers together and you sing tonight, whatever, I want you to have the singer's experience coming slightly forward with their head as they sing and feel that tension come up and feel the ring go away, and then come back and find that nice equilibrium position. You'll feel like your air tube suddenly opens up. That's not what's happening. It's just the tension is coming off of your voice box. So
Let's do the posture too.
Sorry?
Posture?
Yeah, that's one of those.
Because Matt's been working on
Right.
posture with us.
That's one of those words that can be widely. Some people call this alignment or posture.
Yeah.
If you just think it's this position of equilibrium where there's no tension on there, then you're not locked into one thing. It's like when you go see a professional musical. You see singers draped all over the floor, and yet they're singing with ring and accuracy and clarity. If you watch them, what's happening, where their head is in relation to the neck, you'll see them. They'll be talking, and then as soon as they start to sing, it comes back to free that up. It's ruined musicals for me, because now I look at their alignment all the time. So anyway, do that experiment with a chorus and work with the individual singers, because that's the number one and biggest bang for buck that will get more ring and clarity in each voice and get you that expanded sound that we want to get into the higher level stuff, which will make your artistic plan much more effective. Nice job communicating the dynamic plan, director. You're directing the flow of the sound, which a lot of directors become metronomes, so well done.
That's enough. Don't say nothing nice
Too
about
much?
it.
Too much?
You're too much.
Okay. Sectional, in the second song, and after you've gone, sectional unity and tuning were the major issue. So within each section, we have differing opinions as to what the note really is. And that happens quite frequently, which kept you from being even higher in score. And that, I think, comes mostly from the tongue drop issue, where after you've gone, so if that tongue drops back, you're stuffing a sock into your clarinet. You're going to interfere with the ability to produce that ring and clarity, and it also causes slight flat intonation. Another way to demonstrate that is if you whistle from low to high, you'll notice the tongue comes forward and it makes a higher pitch because the space in the front of the mouth is smaller. So just like in normal speech. So feel the tongue come forward, smaller space in front. So essentially, we just want to, if we keep our tongue in the normal North American speech position or the Italian speech position, you're going to be in tune and you're going to have a lot more ring and clarity all the time. And your sync is going to improve because you're not going to have guys overusing their jaws. After you've gone. It's hard to sync that up.
And was it across all 4 sections that you heard that? Okay.
Yeah. And again, at the mid B level. So that it's not poor tuning at a C level, it's tuning issues that preventing you from getting even higher into the B range. Tenors, a tenor needs to balance more to the lead line. So there's some tenors who are consistently very present in the sound, but let's be a little more sensitive. Let's be a little bit more sensitive to what the melody's doing. Everybody's looking back there.
Well, there's a tenor.
We had
Tenor here, it probably.
Just sing with one hand tied behind your back.
Yeah.
Fine. No, it's great.
we had 6 tenors, which is a record for us to have that many tenors.
So we had as many tenors as we did basses,
Yeah.
and more than the baritones.
Very good.
So.
Yeah.
Just really pay attention to that relationship when you're close to the leads. You can be louder when you're exposed from them. Back off just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, dude.
Back off.
Gonna hear that in the quartet too?
No. He's fine in the quartet.
Oh,
That's a little later.
yeah.
Keep going with the sophistication of the dynamic plan. To get into the higher level stuff, once we really stabilize these instruments and get consistent ring from everybody, phrase dynamics are a part of our category 2, because as you increase your dynamic, you're increasing your airflow, making the vocal folds vibrate faster, right? So instead of just thinking this is the loud section, this is the soft section, through the phrase, everything's a crescendo, right? Start off low, crescendo through, that builds ring, that builds energy, impacts the audience. The only way you can affect me as an audience member with your voice is dynamic changes through those crescendos, and again with the choosing passionate consonants. Heart of my heart, I love you. Heart of my heart. So I scooped on love to try and get style. That doesn't work in barbershop because it ruins the chord. So instead I can just linger on the singable consonant a little bit more. Heart of my heart, I love you, love you. And if you're singing with ring and clarity, once in a while we can afford to linger on the singable consonants and lose ring for the impact of communication. So that's truly higher level stuff, is thinking about how can I use the varying ring in our voices, our unit sound, our dynamic plan, and the consonants and the words to create an emotional experience for the audience member. And that focus, that's a high level focus, and that helps the singers think about executing the plan, and visually, you're faking everybody out too, everybody's into it. But if you're paying attention to your tools of how to impact the audience, then the audience will have an emotional reaction to the way you're singing, which includes the idiots in the front with the pencils. Yeah.
Those are the stars.
Why do you talk about James like that?
He's here, isn't he?
Yeah, not with
Oh,
us.
you mean-
We don't see them.
By James, you mean the low guy? Is that?
Yeah.
No, was James our low guy?
Yeah, he was.
What a jerk.
Time?
Thanks a lot, Tim. Thank you.
And-
Nice
yeah,
job.
and don't hesitate to slap me on Facebook or an email, and I can put this out in a more descriptive form for you.
Thank you.
doesn't
Thank you.
matter.
No, that's great.
Happy to help.
All right.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You had a tough time getting there, didn't you? I mean, through different flights, then you had to get driven up here and
Vancouver, British Columbia.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
a little bit of
Bill, I'm going to
See you later,
Bellingham.
eh?
I'm going to Bellingham next week.
Oh, cool. You're on
I don't know, eh?
pretty area.
Yep, thank you, Tim.
Some really good constructive things to say.
Yep. I got it on tape.
But the alignment is really something that G&D does a lot. Alignment.
28. Yeah, the whole body. Well, Joel wasn't there.
Well, if you got the alignment, you
John
got
was-
good breath, you
Um,
got half the battle in.
Matt. I mean, so it's a lot of the guys that were even, so 28 we haven't seen.
That's not a bad score for 28 guys.
Well, it's not a good score for 28 guys either. Well, I don't,
Half full or half?
I know, but size doesn't matter because you can put Wilmer up there with 15 guys.
15, yeah.
And score 75, 73, or whatever it is. You can put 4 guys up there and score 73, 78. That's called a quartet, but that's different.
Somebody forgot to where they were going next.
I don't, yeah, Dunkel's supposed to be here.
Brian.
Performance scores were our lowest. We scored a 66 in performance, but that doesn't surprise me at all. And I'm surprised. I thought After You've Gone would be the lowest scoring vehicle. It was, well, they were about the same, but
Yeah.
it was 0.1 better.
Right here, Brian. Come on down.
You lost.
I gotta change hallways and everything.
Oh my God.
You get exercise?
Call it exercise.
I didn't even have a contest administrator show me where my second room was, and I'm like,
Yeah, but think about us. This is the first of second time that I have to see you today.
it is the first and second time you get to see me today, and
Yeah.
later today we'll have the fourth in a year and a half
Right?
where you have to see me. So
Yeah, you like Land O'Lakes. You get here a lot.
Yeah.
this is my second time here, and it seems like I have 75% of the same groups that I had last time in the eval. So I don't know if they said, hey, they didn't really listen to you the first time, let's try it again, but I don't know.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Exactly. We'll talk about it in quartet, so. All right. How'd you guys feel?
We liked your scores.
I know you did.
So.
Well, on the first song, we liked your score.
You didn't like my score on the second one?
Well, it's the same as the other one.
What did I give you?
67.
Okay.
Are you doing performance?
Performance, yes.
What are you looking for?
What are we looking for?
This is the everything category.
This is the everything category. No, it's actually, we're kind of molding our categories to try and make them easier to understand, and by making them easier to understand, we make them harder to understand for a year or two until everybody understands it, then it makes it easier to understand.
And then they'll change it again.
Do you understand?
No,
So, exactly. So,
that's why I got out.
yeah, so where we're going is, everybody, how many people were around with stage presence? Of course, Joe is. So stage presence was, whatever the lyric tells you, mime that on the stage, and you will score very high. And then we merged to, I want you to tell me a story of what the song is about, and now you're gonna score higher. Now we're taking that one step further and saying, now you may have a story, but how did you get to that story? As a performer, you can't tell me your story without understanding it yourself. So we're taking it instead of, hey, it's a boy and a girl that are sitting here talking. Okay, so how did they get there? Are they in love? Where did they meet? What does she look like? So we're taking that one step further from presenting a story that I came up with to performing the story because I understand inside and out what the story is about. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So, where are these, Matt, as opposed to last year's stories or?
68's pretty close. We've been, I actually predicted 66, so I thought, this,
You're welcome.
yeah, thanks.
Well,
I mean,
Should have messaged me that. I could have changed that.
that's how you get scored.
You would have gone down, so you probably shouldn't have messaged me.
Oh,
It's probably good.
no, I actually had us at 66, and I actually thought the second tune scored lower than the first, which
Okay.
technically it didn't. Well, they scored about the same. 68-2 for the first, 68-3 for the second.
So, here's one of the bad things about stage setups like today. You guys were 8th, so you were still on 5 risers.
Oh, 7.
You had 7 risers.
7.
So, part of the issue, and Judd can attest to this, when we are as close as we are, as it was, and we'll give you a size relation, when Great Northern Union did their mic test, I turned over to James and I said, when we actually get a normal sized director, I'm screwed. I can't see half the chorus because here's Doug this tall and I still can't see the chorus. So when we're dropped down and we're right here, we're literally behind. So I think part of the problem was on the first song, I may have given a little bit more of a benefit of the doubt of, from what I'm seeing, they're doing well. Mike from sitting on the other side may have saw something behind you that wasn't as good that caused that. One of the other issues that we fell into is this a Heart of My Heart? Is that a song you've been doing for a while?
This is our first
First contest.
contest with it.
So it fell into, and as performers we'll all understand when you get into the relationship of we've done a song so much that it becomes second nature to where I don't really work on it and I fall into a trap. Well, this one is falling into the trap of I've sang the polecat for so many darn years. I know it's slightly different, but I still feel like I'm singing a polecat. So that is, I actually had moments where I was breaking into 70, but I had enough moments that I was pulled down to where guys are mentally checking out of I'm singing a polecat because I've sang this song for 30 years and I'm bored out of my mind of it. So the challenge is going to be finding more variations to how can we do this without, and maybe it's taking the polecat in a warm-up and it's follow the director. And if he decides to make a measure last 30 seconds, you cycle breathe, you take your breaths and we keep going. And kind of getting them away from, there is no standard Heart of My Heart anymore in this chorus. Right. So it's getting to the point where, I'm going to kind of contradict myself, but you have to find what I'm saying. So we need to find the place where they're not relying on you too much, because there were times, especially in song 2, where you were kind of pulling them down. And the reason I asked you what I scored is because I actually wrote a 68 at first, and apparently I changed it to a 67 because I was on the border. So part of that is just you're pulling them along too much and they're relying on you too much. So really, when we start going and I'm relying on you to kick him into shape of, maybe you start it after you're gone. Start him and let him go.
When we've done
and he's
that,
done that, but yeah.
we started in this room, we had everybody in a circle turned facing the wall.
Yep.
And to sing that way, and I mean.
So what it comes down to is they aren't taking the ownership and the pride in it when you're up there. So it really comes down to a chorus. Hey, I'm happy that I'm in this chorus. I love this chorus. I'm owning this song. I mean, if you go up there and your director makes a mistake, what's the chorus going to do? Follow him with a mistake, or do what the chorus has been doing? Thank you. Do what the chorus has been doing for the last 6 months. You're going to be doing it so eventually, there's times where it's a follow the director to understand that it could come and go, but really for these contest songs, it's getting to the point to where maybe you're starting them and giving them one or two things throughout the song, and then you kind of evolve your directing off of that.
And my stance has always been with them that by this point, by what time we come here, is I'm part of the performance now, and I'm not really directing.
Right.
And by the way, I don't make mistakes.
We'll talk about that in quartet. So, all right. Because I actually do get you, which is the
I know,
best part.
that's why I say it's the first and second.
I know. So, no, I mean, and that is one of the things that a chorus at this level, what's going to get you to the 70s, you know, when we look up here, I mean, we're talking competent to effective are the kind of the big words up top. So right now you're flirting with that effective, but until there's the ownership on the risers to where, as an audience member, I have no doubt they understand where they're going without you there, it will never get there as an audience member to understand it and being effective to me. So the second song after you've gone, what is our story with that? And he is not allowed to answer. Sorry.
No, tell them. You guys know. Yeah, what's it about?
It was kind of a resurgence as you're gone, but life goes on and I'm stronger from it or whatever.
Okay.
That's my interpretation. That it's a rebuilding song of hope and, yeah, I'm stronger and I'm not that upset once I get over it. That's
Okay.
my interpretation.
You got something?
It's about time she
Yeah.
left. I'm ready to go on.
So it's all about us. It's about us getting over it. Now, is there a point that when we say, your heart will break like mine, so is there a point where we're getting into kind of a what goes around comes around attitude? And I see Judd kind of laughing because I'm sure he's mentioned that before. And so this might be something that just hasn't developed in the back half of it to where if they're not able to say it right now, it's not in the forefront of their memory to remember it. So, and that's kind of what we miss, especially channeling into the second half of, you know, remember the day when you would kiss me one day, your heart will break like mine and you'll want me home. So it's kind of the, yeah, I'm over it, I'm moving on, but then your heart's going to break and you're going to be coming back to me and I'm not having any of it because I'm already moving on.
Yep.
So it's taking it one step further. So that's the difference between presentation could have gotten along with the one message, but now as a performance, I need to step in and the lyrics are saying something different and I need to change that. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. So obviously he's very good. It's just, I would just continue to ask them stuff like this, let them answer because they just told us right now that they didn't remember that part of it. So it may just be more of a give and a take and making sure they're understanding it more. And I would put more pressure on them as far as when you do not direct, are they doing everything correctly? Is tempo slowing down? Is rhythm changing? Because as a performer, if it's not second nature to the tempo and everything, and I'm changing that slightly, that still means I'm relying on you. So it's one of those things that I've been in enough choruses where we've done the same thing, where it's like, hey, we got through the song. Yeah, it didn't crash and burn, and it was pretty good. But pretty good, and we want to score mid-70s. We want to qualify for international is not pretty good. You know, I sang with the Alliance in Columbus, Ohio for a while, and one of our biggest things that we actually put on one of our international shirts was good enough is the enemy of great. Because as soon as it's, hey, that's good enough, you start settling and you start accepting the fact that, yeah, I could be better, but I'm okay with where I am. So as soon as you start accepting where you are and not challenging yourself to go further, and that's going to come from the two of you of, especially the music, is once they have that ownership, then they can flip to the performing side. So, any other questions?
No, that's good stuff.
What do you feel? Because one of the biggest things we work on that after you've gone is embracing the backbeat, embracing the 2/4, and really stretching each, you know, and feeling that triplet each time, the degada, 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 and I felt like we actually performed poorly on stage, I felt. I mean, but I felt like we actually did, that was one thing that we did sort of, and maybe we'll hear from the music category, but on that,
Phil
but,
coming in next.
yeah. But did that distract you at all?
It didn't distract me, all right.
Okay.
It didn't distract me, but one of the first notes that I wrote, which is generally gonna be the first note that I see, is fun song ? So I think right
Yep.
now that backbeat just isn't natural
Yep.
to where we're getting laser focus on you to rely on you to give us that backbeat
Yep.
tempo before we even start to try and perform it.
Yeah,
So,
all right.
cool. I'll
See
see
you
you
in
in
a
like an
Thanks,
hour.
Kevin.
Yep, thanks.
Appreciate it, yeah.
See you guys, thank you. Good work out there.
Good, again, he's, yeah, now he's, yeah,
Well, that's where
Well,
you
he's-
from. Well, Vancouver was it,
Tim was from Vancouver, but Kevin's, I think so, yeah. Phil is, the next guy is from California.
Kevin is from Ohio still.
But-
Galloway, Ohio.
Galloway,
But some new concepts that we don't really talk about. And,
But we talked about, that's a revenge song.
yeah, there was a sex song too.
Oh, yeah, he's still hot.
Like,
He's a Facebook friend of mine, so I was gonna.
This is it, Phil. Come on, you're our last victim. How you doing? Good to see you.
How are you? Good to see you guys. How you guys feeling about your shot?
Good and bad.
Okay, well,
We're glad to be the winners of AA, and we could have done better, so tell us how to do better.
I'll try. So good
I
try.
know you'll do a good job.
And feel like I'm back in school. My name is Phil Ordaz. I represent the music category, and so myself and Evan Bakehold today had fun judging and being in the pit. That's always a kick. How long I just out of curiosity, how long the Croix Chordmen have been around?
66, yeah, 66 years, yeah. This is this is in 79, so this is 89, we're almost 40 years in division contests.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good deal. Anyway, as a music judge, what I do is we listen. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's something, yeah.
Okay,
Couldn't
I
have.
get my eyes off science in middle school. We judge song arrangement as it's being performed. So whatever you're giving us, it's coming fresh off the writers, and we're listening for it, and we're not having no preconceptions of how it should sound. It's whatever you guys give us. We listen for things that are stylistic, and how you employ style in the barbershop style too. It's maximum potential, I guess is the way you should put it. Sometimes if there are things that are done that don't fit barbershop, and I don't want to say we don't penalize necessarily anymore. If things are musically appropriate and they work and they allow you to have lock and ring, you might sing that crazy chord that 10, 15 years ago was a -5, and you're not going to see that anymore, as long as you do it well. Of course, I just talked to you, they did nevertheless. And it ends on that major 7th chord at the end. And they did a big fat major 7th. It fits the song, fits the song. The only comment I have for them is it was unbalanced because the lead sang it, and the lead sang it really loudly like a lead would sing his part. And they didn't balance off that color chord, and so it didn't necessarily affect their score. But that's kind of what we're listening for, things like that. And of course, musicianship. How well do you know and understand your music so that you can take those moments and apply the tools like dynamic and color and texture and word emphasis at the right moments and not forget about them. So lyric is huge. I'm huge about how using the lyric. I also teach an acting class at school. And we're always talking about the why behind the what. Why do you do what you do? So why do we sing soft at a certain moment? Why do we sing loudly? Why do we emphasize those words? Because the lyric is telling us what to do. And so that always fits. So we'll start here. And Heart of My Heart, right at the beginning, we had the word fair. We want some shape to that. It felt like, can we sing? You mind?
No.
Not half? You're good with it?
We got 4 parts, but
Well, you get that, right? Give me the opening line. It's in a garden fair.
Youth
One day in a garden fair. Youth one day in a garden fair arose. So right away I want to be captured and taken on this little ride, and it was a little too linear. Youth one day in a garden fair, a little bit of camping out instead of allowing some growth and shape to happen right away. I think lyrically. If I'm thinking lyrically, what's the lyric asking me to do? A youth one day. What was that youth in a garden fair? I'm assuming this youth is who? Do we know who he
What?
is?
No, it wasn't any of us,
Yeah, well,
really.
it's,
You don't have to have a scenario to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it's somebody we're singing, this is a narrator at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Right.
So it's somebody we're singing about.
Right. So to catch me as an audience member, use some musical moments like that to create some tension and release. Youth one day in a garden fair. There's a musical release, and right away as an audience member, I'm more captured by the sound of the group. Roses and dying, and then we had some words that kind of gets leveled out, like the word vain.
But all for love in vain.
Vain. So some kind of growth in shape. It doesn't always have to be a swell and dynamic, but it could be a word emphasis, leaning into that phrase, backing away from it, just to create some musical motion, which is what is about the musicianship thing going on here. We get to the chorus of the song. What did I write? Lift and life. Oh, I wanted more lift in the sound, more life in the sound, and that comes from the same thing, going to the lyric and seeing what the lyric is asking me to do. So what is the lyric saying? We're singing softly at the beginning, at the edge of the chorus of the song. Are we singing softly? Why? Why are we?
Softly sighing, yeah.
Yeah. Why are we singing soft? Versus the emotion that's demanding that. Versus the lyrical message that's demanding that. And then you're going to sing it a little differently, not just soft. Often with my chorus, I'll tell you guys, okay, we're not going to, I can sing loud here, but we're going to celebrate, we're going to declare, we're going to be emphatic right here. We're going to be tender, we're going to be gentle, we're going to be reflective. As opposed to saying, we're going to be soft, we're going to be loud. And I don't always do that, but when I think about it, that's what I do. So the lyric, use it, tell it. The basses, you have a little, I'm not going to call the basses up, but basses tuning was a little bit in and out at times. And I think sometimes when we got softer, we lost vocal energy. We weren't supporting the tone, so we get this big sound that we bring down, and it still has the same amount of stuff inside, right? It doesn't get squishy. So think about that. It'll help us with the intonation. So more range of dynamic could be used for that. In the second chorus, I put "Go for it." I wanted you to really start, as you were getting louder, it was like, give me more, give me more, give me more, that type of stuff. But pretty good. It was a good plan, pretty sound, a very sensitive sounding chorus. And that's awesome. So there's a lot of good stuff in place. I wrote more plan and more story. You can just think about the lyric more often, let that drive what you're saying and what you're singing. After You're Gone. Nice. At the beginning, I wrote lyrics, tone, and texture. So there was something at the beginning. What's the opening of the song?
Can't believe we're breaking up.
That's right. Can't believe we're breaking up. Da, 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 da. I don't remember what I heard, but I thought the texture should be a little bit more vibrant. Can't believe we're breaking up. Like, what's going on here? Later on, towards the tag, it was a nice vibrant tag, and I wrote, I needed that at the top. I needed that. I needed that tonal difference in this uptune, as opposed to where we came from before. It was more like, it felt more, there's a little more pain in the sound. Can't believe we're breaking up. I'm not sure you wanted to go there, because it sounded a little soft and a little bit mushy.
It was, well, from my point of view, it was very tentative. It was, there wasn't an honest start to it. I mean, I think if maybe had I do it over again, I may have stopped and started, but.
Or take a little bit more time. I've done it so many times.
Yeah, I mean, we had a rhythm down of the transition, where I come out, accept the applause.
Right.
It was a smaller crowd, so the applause didn't last as long maybe as and then as soon as I turn around, the pitch starts and I do my count off.
Right.
But I felt as soon as we came into it, there was some discombobulation where it didn't sync up. Then I think what happened is and this chorus is, we do this all the time, and they know they do it. is that as soon as it doesn't feel right, it's like they suck the air out of the room and they back way off. So that may have been what you're hearing, because it's exactly what I heard on stage and going, oh, well, here we go. You know?
And this is an old friend. This has been used many times with us. And Kevin pointed out, we didn't all really know the story of what we're singing about.
Yeah.
We hadn't explained it very well.
But thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
I'm learning on this stuff.
Yeah.
Matt knows that. So Jeff and I are the only bassists in the room right now. So when you say we're out of tune, I'm going back to Bill. I'm sorry, I got to forget. When you say we're out of tune, not being trained what you're saying totally, does that mean we had the ripple effect, that we weren't together? Is that what you mean by
No,
that? Describe what you mean by out of tune. I want to know what
There
you
were
mean.
times when the chorus was in its softer dynamics, where the bass is overall, for
We're
example,
together.
where as you're making moves, didn't always make the interval.
It didn't sound solid, is that
Yeah.
what you're solid?
So
you got a
the
little
tuning was in
fluctuation.
and out.
Oh, it's a little fluctuation.
You might land on that tonic chord really great, but when it goes to this other chord and you have to make a move up a minor third, didn't always get up there all the way, and then came back down, was good, but then the next move didn't happen necessarily all the way, so. But it was only really when we got softer, which indicates that maybe we weren't supporting well enough.
Big point.
Yeah, I would agree with that on the ballad. I mean, and I felt we did the ballad softer than we normally do. Only, and partly is that obviously the stage is a different venue, so, and it's typically harder to hear on stage. So then the softs become accentuated.
Sure.
And so then, of course, as you as a singer going, well, I'm really loud, so you back off even farther.
Yeah, you know it exactly.
So that's where, and I would agree with that. I felt not just the basses, though, I heard it in the baritones too, but thankfully there was only 5 of them, so it didn't carry
Yeah.
to the pit.
Yep. Cool. Yeah, so to get back to what you were talking about, I did write "Song is Sitting," and exactly what you talked about.
Yeah.
Kind of, okay, what's going on? We're not
Yep.
into what we're expecting to hear. Smooth versus story I had written down, so I'll talk about what Kevin probably talked about.
Yep.
Just more of the, after you've gone, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, just a little bit more growth in shape. Da-da-da-da, that stretch into the sound, so you get this kind of rotational motion to the music. We just always use a little bit more of that. I wrote "Let It Dance." Just at the key change. Well, you know what the key change is.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly. It's after you're gone, right?
Yeah, well, it's, and so they'll come,
They'll come
remember the day, that the bass solo,
Yeah, right,
or bass melody, but, and we put a triplet in there.
right, that's fine.
But, and how did you feel about backbeat? I mean, did we
I
accomplish
thought it was
it?
okay. Yeah, it felt comfortable.
Good.
Yeah, it feels comfortable.
You weren't
I
jolted
wasn't.
out of the rhythm?
No, I didn't
Okay.
make any notes about it, so
Good.
Yay!
I was successful.
That's our, we'll take it, because we've probably done a backbeat song for the last 300 years, and everybody says,
What kind of song is this? It's a 2/4 song.
Yeah.
Not everybody, just some judges.
just some judges, mostly,
Well, the truth is, it's an easy thing to put on your paper.
and if it's a backbeat song and you're feeling 1 and 3,
Yeah.
well, of course you're gonna put that. I'd put it on my paper too. Yeah, but we've spent a lot, a majority of our time we spent on singing things to the end and feeling that triplet
Yeah,
and really
the pull.
the digga, just, and I thought we actually had kind of an epiphany a couple of weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago, where it finally started to get to that point,
Good.
So that was I'm glad to hear actually that it's now on some of the things that we can actually accomplish in short order, which is that we didn't do any of that push-pull because we had such a horrible start, and I've always told the guys, if you start bad, the recovery is almost impossible.
That's so true.
If you start well, the possibility of downfall is incredibly difficult
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So it's all about
Oh, I get going.
getting a good start,
Yep.
and we just didn't.
Yeah. Good deal. So all that was said.
Yeah.
Like I said, that vibrance that you had in the tag, thank you. Vocally it changed.
Yeah,
As we got to that closing tag, it started to spin up in the head instead of, it was kind of throaty for a while.
Yep,
In the middle, and then it kind of spun up in the head. And that's kind of the vibrancy we need at the beginning.
yeah. Well,
I think
yeah, the
that's
second verse after the key change, it started to
It
improve.
started to cook.
But it took a half a song to do
Yeah.
it.
Well, thank you guys.
Which doesn't score much. Thank you, Phil, that was great. That was great, thanks so much.
Back